Welcome to Around the ECHL. We check in every Tuesday with familiar voices, faces from around the league. And today we go to Toledo, Ohio, and the voice of your Toledo Walleye, Matt Melzak. And hey, great to have you here, buddy. First of all, it seems like I've just seen you recently, but it's been about 3 years.
Yeah, it's been what, 3 or 4 years since the last time we matched up at Crazy. We were close a few years ago, playoff wise, but didn't end up coming to fruition. But hey, great to see you. I hope you're having a good season.
It is. Things are going well. I miss seeing the familiar faces from around the league like yourself and in those teams that are not playing. But we look forward to the 21-22 season when you guys begin playing in November. Talk about your off season. What have you been doing to keep yourself entertained while you're not calling hockey?
Well, it's been quite weird because, as you know, I do baseball as well. So the fact that we did not have a Mud Hens baseball season last summer and now no Walleye hockey this year. So it's been kind of a tricky last year for me, that's for sure. Not doing a ton in the broadcast world. I mean, my golf game hasn't been this good in 10 years to have a lot of time to work on that. Learned how to ride a motorcycle over the course of last summer during the pandemic time. So kind of kept myself busy on that end. And now it's just getting ready for a baseball season, which is scheduled to start on May 4th.
Before I wanted to bring up the fact that, I correct myself. It's not been a while since you've called a hockey game because actually last weekend you called an American Hockey League game. How was that stepping in to be the voice of the Grand Rapids Griffins for nice?
You know what? It was a thrill and it was an honor. I mean, obviously the circumstances not one you'd ever want to see, and hope Bob Kaiser continues to get better after having his heart surgery. But certainly to be able to step in and be thought of by the Grand Rapids Griffins and for Toledo, our AHL affiliate, to think of using me for a couple of games. I'm also going to do this Friday from Cleveland. So for them to think of me in this time was quite an honor, and it was a thrill. It was great to get back into the broadcast booth and get into the flow of the fast-paced hockey world when you're basically looking at guys that have a lot of NHL experience that are out on the ice. The game moves so quick, as you know. So it was just awesome to be there and being in the environment and the experience.
I don't think people realize how much prep goes into calling a game and how many notes we take, little stats that we have. Sometimes you don't even use all of them. But did you over prep, do you think, for the game this past weekend?
No question. I think I could have done probably about 5 games in a row and still had material. I mean, that's how prepped I was. I was trying to be so almost over prepared. I think, Tommy, in a way you can get that way. I know you've done some games at higher levels as well. You know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you over prepare and then your brain starts thinking about all those things you want to get in, but then the game doesn't allow you to do that. And, some of that comes from my baseball background, because in baseball, you can't be prepared enough. Sometimes your notes don't take you as far as you think they will in a baseball game, because of the fact that there's so much time and so much air time you can fill in with notes and nuggets and these things that we like to use as broadcasters. But yeah, I was very prepared. It'll make my preparation for Friday very easy.
Well, and players always get excited when they get that call up to the American Hockey League. There should be a transaction for broadcasters going up to calls up to the AHL. Did you feel different? I mean, we know the speed of the game is a little bit different, but overall, is one NHL broadcaster told me one time, Tommy, you're doing the same thing here in Allen that I'm doing in Dallas right now, just in front of a few more fans.
Yeah, and that was pretty much it. I mean, in that aspect, obviously with the pandemic and where we are in Ohio, Cleveland was only allowed to have 4,100 in attendance. That was there. Everybody was spaced out. So you lost a little bit of that maybe you would have on a normal Saturday night in downtown Cleveland, where they might have 10 to 15,000 people. Maybe it would have felt a little bit different. But the building wise, it did feel a little bit like an NHL rink because the Cavs play there. So it is basically in a way. But yeah, for the most part, it's just calling the hockey game. And that's the way I approached it. And basically, once I got over that, I'm going to do an American Hockey League game. It just rolled like I was doing a Toledo Walleye game in Allen, Texas.
There you go. Good for you. Matt
Which
Melzak, the
we've never
voice.
been to you, by the way.
Well,
We've never
yeah.
been.
And when are you coming?
I don't know. Talk to the schedule people.
Joe Babick, if you're listening,
Yeah.
they want to come down. And I know we'd love to come back up there. Selfishly, it's the closest to my family, in Buffalo. So they actually, a few of them got a chance to come when we were there a few years ago, take that drive up, nice drive. And hopefully it'll happen. If the schedule makers are listening right now, I would not mind that trip at all back to Toledo as well. You talked about the baseball side of it, and people don't understand, this man right here that we're talking to right now, what a busy life he has. He goes straight from hockey season, basically when playoffs end, into baseball. He's calling all the home games. We know how long a baseball schedule runs throughout the 120 games, 40 games, depending on what league. When do you have time for yourself, a vacation? Because we all need that time in the off season to recoup, to get a little rest, and get fresh for the next hockey season.
Yeah, usually my time is that middle part of September, Tommy. Most years, I mean, obviously this will be a different year for baseball where they're going to spill into mid to almost late September. But for the most part, usually they're done on Labor Day. And I would have from that point until we would get hockey going in October to basically have that time away, recharge. A lot of times I've already done the travel for the Toledo Walleye and have that all buttoned up by that point. So a lot of times that is that opportunity for me to do things and get away from everything for a little while is usually that month of September.
So I promised I wouldn't keep you long. I know you got things coming up here this afternoon, but I got to ask you, travel around the league. You've been doing this for a while. Give me some of your favorite venues, whether it's baseball or hockey, that you've been to over the years.
Ooh, that's an interesting question. As far as broadcast vantage point, I've always been a big fan, believe it or not, of Wings Event Center in Kalamazoo, Michigan. You're right at center ice. You have your own booth. You see everything easily. You're right there by the crowd, but you're not quite in the crowd. That one's always been kind of a fun place for me. And we've had some great games there. It always feels like our games are going to come down to the wire and something goofy is going to happen, and some of those things that you like to see. And it's an older building built in the 70s. It kind of has that feeling. I mean, we go to Fort Wayne a lot. That's an old building, has a lot of history there going all the way back to the beginning of the Comets days. That's kind of a fun place there that you certainly like to look at. And then as far as the new buildings are concerned that we've been to over the years, let's see what stands out as far as the newer buildings. You know what, I like going to Florida sometimes. I think that's a fun building to be in, especially if they've got a very good crowd going. Idaho is beautiful. That's a terrific spot there. That's a lot of fun to go in there. I'm glad we got to go there a couple of times now. And obviously I'd love to come down there and see your building, schedule makers.
Yeah.
Once again, baseball wise, Columbus has a terrific facility just down the road from us. I've been down there for a few games and they've got just a fun, it's a little ballpark. So it's kind of like a bandbox. It gives a lot of, offensive showcase there. And that's just a lot of fun to call games in.
Well, hey, I know you got a busy day. Thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time. I can't wait. I'm going to catch you. I didn't miss you last weekend, but Friday night, again, he's going to be calling a Grand Rapids Griffins game. And I know you won't be as nervous this time because you're an old pro at it. You've done it this time or two. One of the great voices in our league did the All-Star game a few years ago. Matt Melzak, appreciate you joining us here this afternoon. And, stay safe out there, buddy.
You do the same, Tommy. Let's just keep churning along. You and I are the old guard kind of in the ECHL. So let's keep it rolling.
I love it. There he is. And of course, every Tuesday we go around the ECHL. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon, Matt. Be safe, buddy.
You as well.